This is Dr.P is back with more creepypastas. Yes, that's right, creepypastas. Now, this isn't something that I have done so often, but if you don't know anything about me, which likely you don't, I really used to love creepypastas when I was a kid. I listened to them, and I've even wrote some of my own. Nothing posted to the internet or anything, just some interesting, scary stories based on whether they be purposely shitty or whatever. The tales of Rick Bannister that me and my buddies made up, or whatever, you know. But I used to love them as a kid. And I was thinking I should start reading some on my channel, and, you know, it's something that I enjoy, and I want to do stuff that I really enjoy doing. So, for this today, I'm going to be reading Mr. Mix. It was originally uploaded, at least according to the Creepypasta wiki, it was originally uploaded on November 17th, 2011. And the original author is unknown. So, that's what I'm going to be reading today. This is one of the ones from when I was a kid that I listened to, and I don't know if I don't really remember it so much, so it'll sort of be a new experience for all of us. Anyways, so without further ado, let's get into Mr. Mix. Does anyone remember an old PC game from the early 1990s called Mr. Mix? It was mainly a typing game, similar to Mario Teaches Typing, where you have to put words into a box to make a chef, the titular Mr. Mix, place ingredients into a bowl. Unlike most typing games, however, the game was notorious for having an insane difficulty curve. It had a words per minute requirement for each level, being as low as 10 on level 1 and as high as 85 on the third. By level 5, the requirements reached over 500, effectively making it impossible to proceed any further. One of the main things that people immediately noticed about the game was the background music. On the first level, it was an unsettling pattern of growls that got progressively louder as the level went on, often causing damage to early computer speakers that were not designed to handle extremely high volumes. The second level had no music at all, and the third had what sounded like a very low-quality recording of a hairdryer playing in the background. The remaining 2 levels had an incredibly loud, high-pitched ringing throughout that caused severe eardrum damage to those who managed to get that far. Another rather disturbing aspect of the game was the design of Mr. Mix himself. He was a large, round-faced, overweight man with beady eyes and red spots on his cheek. Most children who played the game reported having vivid nightmares of Mr. Mix speaking to them in a quiet, raspy voice and threatening them to keep quiet about something. However, none of them could remember exactly what it was. One psychologist who saw many of these children reporting being disturbed by the sheer amount of terror on their faces as they recounted details of the nightmare. Many of them broke down into tears in the process, begging for their parents to save them. However, no direct relationship to the game itself could be determined by these few cases, as not all children suffered the same adverse effects. For obvious reasons, the game didn't sell very well. It remained in relative obscurity until a few years ago, when PC hackers got hold of a ROM of it and started digging through it. Using memory hacking software, they managed to crack the game's code and bypass the impossible 5th level. What they found, however, was highly disturbing and caused many of them to quit the expedition altogether. According to the reports these hackers left behind, the game behaves very strangely if the 5th level was bypassed. The game crashes violently and closes, writing a bunch of the files to the user systems32 directory to the point that the RAM is almost completely filled. These files are reportedly pictures of people with horribly deformed faces, appearing to scream in pain and agony, their eyes bleeding from their tear ducts, and their outer layer of skin torn clean off in multiple places. If the user attempts to delete these files, their computer will violently crash and blue screen, causing permanent, irreparable damage to the hard drive. The hackers found that this was caused by a lone byte in the game's ROMs that triggered when the 5th level was completed. After removing this byte, they were able to proceed to the 6th and final level. Unfortunately, all of the original hackers declined to discuss what they saw on the final level, each of them becoming extremely paranoid and reclusive afterwards, refusing to talk about anything related to the game, and showing astonishingly extreme symptoms of post-traumatic stress disorder. Most of them ceased to be able to form coherent sentences within a week. Within a month, all of them had gone missing. To this day, no one knows what was in it that caused the group so much psychological damage. Maybe it's better that way. 2 years after the incident, a man was arrested for trying to kidnap an 8-year-old girl from a grocery store. Through DNA and fingerprint analysis, he was identified as one of the original hackers who had viewed the final level of the game. He was wearing a white chef hat and had a look of unspeakable malice and insanity on his face. When interrogated, the man would only say one thing: "I'm Mr. Mix." So that's the creepypasta Mr. Mix. I don't know if it really holds up to today's standards. And while I was reading it, I really was just not, I don't know, I didn't love it so much. So we'll talk about it here in a minute. So my concerns and issues are just the fact of, I don't know, there's just not a whole lot of information given about this, final thing. And it's supposed to be left that way. I get it. It's supposed to be left that way to piece it together, but just a little bit of information on like the last 6th level or whatever, would be interesting to just hear what these hackers saw and why they kept to secrecy. And, within a month, all of them had gone missing, aside from this one that, 2 years they find him. It just, I don't know. I don't know if I love that so much. Now, there is a lot of good things about this story, though, that I do enjoy. I do enjoy, the description of Mr. Mix, and there should be a picture along with it. It's kind of creepy. I do enjoy the idea of a haunted or evil Mario Teaches Typing kind of game. If you've ever seen Mario Teaches Typing, it's a pretty interesting game. The difficulty's a little off, but, the difficulty curve, it's fine. I feel like Mr. Mix just doesn't have enough detail, in my opinion. And I do remember not loving it back, in the day when I would listen to somebody read it or whatever. I think it was Some Ordinary Gamers, probably. I used to really like the creepypastas that he did on his channel. But yeah, no. I'm just not the biggest fan of this creepypasta, and I don't want to beat the dead horse and say it over and over again, but yeah, no. And not being able to know who the author is and get, see if this was their first creepypasta or whatever. If anybody can link me to the original author, if anybody knows the original author, I would like to, read more if they have any more of these stories. It is in the memes tab for the Creepypasta wiki. So take that for what it is. Maybe this was originally posted as a meme. Maybe this isn't supposed to be that scary. I don't know. It's a story. So that being said, I think that's about all I can really say on this one. If you want me to read a different story or a specific story, let me know. I'll definitely pop in and read a different story, give my thoughts on it. I really couldn't give so much thinking to this one because there's just not a whole lot to say. It's a very short story, a couple of paragraphs here, and that's all there is to tell. Anyways, Dr. Paracelsus, signing off.